Alrighty, friends, here we are back on our channel. And I say our channel because if you didn't stop in to watch it, then I guess it would be just my channel, but it would be very much fun. And today I'm going to try a couple of things. I'm actually working on an alpha version of the firmware for the Crystal that allows me to run it at 72 hertz. I normally run it at 90 because my computer really isn't powerful enough to do 120. And sooner or later, they're going to get super sampling and stuff like that working really well. And then it's not necessarily a bad idea to be at 72 hertz. I used to use the 8KX at 75, and it was fine. Now, I do think that if I try 72 hertz in a first-person shooter like Half-Life Alyx, I don't know how well that'll work for me, because when I tried that, I found the frame rate wasn't quite high enough to keep me from feeling a little bit queasy. Anyway, here we are, and the other thing I want to try out is this beautiful Piper Navion. I've only seen Ryan Navion, originally built by North American. What's going on here? I got something going on with the controls. Oh, rudder pedals. Brakes. What's going on here? Well, isn't that interesting? The brakes are activating. They're toe brakes on the Navion, I presume. Hydraulic pump, parking brake. If I turn that off, does that stop? Yes, okay. And yet we're not going in. Well, the engine hasn't started yet, so I better put the parking brake back on. Isn't that interesting? I don't know whether that's a bug or just... I don't know. Anyway, the Navion was a creation of North American, the people that brought us the wonderful P-51 Mustang. And they and a bunch of other manufacturers, like Luscombe and others, thought there was going to be a big post-war boom in aviation as all the service people came home and wanted to keep flying. But I think what mostly the service people wanted to do was get married and have babies. And that's what they did. Okay, so let's turn some stuff on here. I'm using my Logitech switch console and radio panel, and I'm just firing things up here. Now this says mix and prop and throttle, and what's this here? That's engine cowl flaps. Okay, good. And what's that? Fuel pump position is on. I guess that's probably good, huh? Hot air entry. Is there a primer? Hydraulic pump. Landing gear. Well, it's good to know where that is. I thought there might be a primer, but I don't. There's usually a primer to pump some gas into the carb. Pitot heat. I don't think we're going to need that. Landing gear. We'll leave that down for now. Pitch trim. Is it over here, maybe? Is it hiding behind? I thought it might be hiding behind the well, okay, let's get the rest of the lights on and stuff. Okay, so all right. I'll turn the radio on. Oh, I thought it was already on. Okay, we got that one on. Good. Of course, you'd never get into an unfamiliar airplane and just do this, you know. Well, nobody with any sense would, but all right. Well, let's try starting it. See what happens. I don't like to pump the throttle. I think that's generally a bad idea. Maybe I need to pump. Oh, emergency hydraulic pump. Okay, well, I don't need that right now. Hot air entry, airflow. Okay, so the fuel pump's on. That's good. Now, that'll be the canopy release. I don't understand what's going on here. Oh, I gotta select a few. Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Now, with fuel selected, I probably have a chance. Canopy override. Okay, fuel selector is on mains. Now we should get some action here. Oh, man. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to go through a whole run-up procedure here. Basically because I just want to get in the airplane and fly and take a look at Palm Springs. I'm continuing my Old Fat Man Tours the World Virtually to look for his golf holiday location video series. And I'm actually hoping to find a shorter title for that. I don't want to hit this guy. I'll just keep the yoke back a bit here. Supposed to have great short field performance. Let's take a good look here and make sure we know where everybody is. We're pointed north right now. I want to take off west. Hey, I can see my co-pilot. How cool is that? This is the first time in VR that I've actually been able to see the co-pilot. I'm getting 32 frames per second with turbo on. We're in OpenXR mode, of course. Let's just pretend we've been cleared for takeoff. Put some flaps down. Propeller full. Mix full rich. I think we can probably rotate about now. It might have been wise to leave that for another few miles an hour. Okay, now let's get the gear up. We got enough airspeed, I think, to raise the flaps. You want to make sure you got enough airspeed before you do that. And it's always a good idea to be looking ahead too, unlike me, looking to see where the controls are. So this apparently is Palm Springs. Now I don't know if this is photogrammatically accurate, but it looks pretty good. Mind you, everything in Flight Sim looks pretty good on the Crystal. I think that's a golf course underneath us, the Dunes golf course, and I think I just took off from the airport that the Dunes has. How cool is that? I mean, it would be great to be able to fly in and just hop off your airplane, grab a bag, and go play some golf. You could do that at a little airport I know in my home province, Saskatchewan, called Birch Hills. Their airport was right next to the golf course, so that was pretty cool. Looks like a nice course. Lots of houses on the edges. If you're a golfer like me, you want to make sure you've got golf insurance, so if you if you break somebody's window, you don't have to pay for it. Do I need cowl flaps down? This is where a guy should really read the manual. But this Navion is a beautiful airplane. It's from hangar 713, I think. And I really like the detail. I think it's really very attractive. Let's see if I can get an outside view here. Oh, I keep forgetting where I mapped that. Oops, didn't want to put the gear down. Jeez, I got too many things going on. I've got all these different control setups kind of working against each other because I keep adding new stuff without subtracting the old stuff. Basically because I'm not that smart, Just an old fat man in a cruel world doing the best I can. I keep hoping that we'll get the slightly wider field of view lenses from Pimax soon. I keep hearing rumors that they're just about done developing it, but I don't know. I'm kind of used to the field of view now. The vertical field of view is really nice. It's better than the 8KX, but of course the 8KX is 170 degrees of horizontal field of view, leaves this behind. It's just this is pretty amazing in terms of clarity. I really do feel like I'm flying in the real world sometimes, It's pretty cool. I just want to pause this for a second and check some settings. Okay, so what I'm going to go do is go to General Options here. I still have this cold, so pardon me for sniffling at you. DLSS Super Resolution is set for quality. Reprojection mode is off because it doesn't play well with turbo mode. Oh gosh, I'm having a problem with my well, let's ignore that. I'm having problems with my internet connect, I guess. That's one of the things that bothers me a little bit about Flight Sim. I'd like to be able to download all the scenery, even if I had to buy a 10 terabyte drive to do it, so that I'm not at the mercies of my internet provider. I've got most things set for high rather than ultra. Volumetric clouds I always set low. I'm just thinking if there's anything I should change here. Okay, well, I'm going to go into OpenXR mode. There we are. Let's see what we've got here. We've got CAS on for sharpening. Sharpening is at 85%. Foveated rendering is on. Eye tracking is on. So I should have eye tracking working, and I should have dynamic foveated rendering working. I've got it set for, I think, minimum. All right, so let's go back up, and let's see what I've got for resolution. I got it set for 3400 by 4130. Let me set that down just a little bit. I'll set it down to about 3000, 3060 by 36, well, something like that. 3018 by 3571. Let's see what that does. Okay, so I'm going to exit the menu. I'm going to have to restart the VR session to apply changes. So we'll turn VR off. That actually gives me a good opportunity to look at Pimax and see what I've got set for rendering. Will it let me do that? It's set for 72 Hertz. Okay. Enter into the guide. No, I don't want to do the guide. Okay. Advanced. Has it selected the right lens? Yes, we have had issues where one of the other beta testers had the Pimax select the 42 ppd lenses that he didn't have, and then everything looked weird. And if that happens to you, go to advanced if things start to look weird and make sure you've got the right lenses selected. Should do it automatically. General. All right, I've got the right updates. Everything is groove high. Let's go to games, flight simulator. I've got foveated rendering set to minimum. I don't notice much difference there, so I'm going to turn it to maximum and see what it does. Apply. Okay. And now we can close that. And we'll go back to VR, I hope. Yeah, there we are. Okay. So I'll put the headset back on. Oh, and Pimax is kindly discovering where my eyeballs are and centering and doing the automatic IPD thing, which I really like. I fought with my 8KX to get the IPD close to what I could use, and this one does it automatically. All right, so let's leave everything in here where it is and just go back and resume. And we're getting a few more frames per second. We're getting 32, now we're getting 40. So that's pretty good. Yeah, and I can see that where the center of my view is clear. Where I look becomes clear. But I think part of it is that I've set the resolution down, and part of it might be dynamic foveated rendering. I have to admit, I'm still learning how all that stuff works. It's not easy being an old fat man in a avionics cruel world. I guess I don't have too much to kick about, really. I've got some friends in Palm Springs, and I've got some other friends who would like me to take my winter holiday down there so we can golf there. But gee, I kind of want to go to Mexico or Panama or somewhere where I can play golf and work on my Spanish, which is my latest project. Although I have to admit, looking at Palm Springs, I would like to go there someday. I think it's really nice. Okay, let's go back to options here. I think I want to see what we've got for data. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn that back on, I think. Online functionality, photogrammetry is on. Real world traffic is off. We'll leave that off for now. Multiplayer is off. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, you do notice quite a difference between normal flight simulator scenery and photogrammatic. I'm sure there's a bunch of golf courses in the area. Yeah, I may be doing something wrong with dynamic foveated rendering. I'm not sure. Let me just go back into the XR toolkit here and go to System and go to there. And let's just turn that up a bit again. Let's turn that up. We'll compromise. Go to 34 something. Okay, good. Exit menu. In 7 seconds, and then we'll restart the VR session. Sounds good. Okay. And now we reset. Or we try to. Gotta make sure that I'm actually on the right thingamabob. Oh, there it is. It worked. I think it worked. Oh, I must have turned it on and off. You know, friends, there's no mistake so dumb that I can't make it. All right. Okay, let's resume. And I think what I'm going to find here, yeah. So my frame rate has fallen a bit. So I don't think dynamic foveated rendering is working. I'm going to have to check with Matt Bucci and Ari on it and see what's required, because I think it might be different for Flight Sim than it is for DCS. It is a nice looking golf course. I wonder what it costs to get a holiday package at the dunes, and probably more than an old retired guy like me can afford. But pretty nice. That's really something. I wonder where they get their water. This looks like it's largely a mountainous and desert area. Do they have aquifers, or? I wonder. I know so little about geography and things like that. I did take a class on physical geography at university, but that was a long time ago, when dirt was new, and so was I. Well, okay, so I'm finding that 72 hertz is working fine for me. I don't notice any lag or jagging when I move my head. Everything seems fine. I think I would I think I'd have to test it in a shooter or some other kind of game to see how it works in terms of those games. As I say, I played a lot of games in the 8KX at 75 hertz, and it was fine. But some people are very sensitive to frame rate. And I found in one first-person shooter, I did get kind of nauseous moving around if the frame rate dropped below 50 or so. So I can understand that. And VR is so far from being a one-size-fits-all proposition. It's anything but. Different size heads and face shapes and eyeballs and the distance between your pupils and your prescription, and then there's the hardware. We're constantly finding issues related to Windows with the with VR headsets, particularly the Crystal. Some things in Windows, I can't tell you exactly what they are. I don't know, but I know we've had problems with motherboards too, not handling USB in a VR friendly way, basically ignoring some USB ports when you try to run the 8KX or the Crystal through them. And this has turned out to be not a Pimax problem, but a motherboard problem. And then, of course, you have all the different drivers and your graphics cards. And as I say, we're at the Model A stage of VR development. I mean, it's really cool, but we're a few years away from seeing the most stable, consistent performance and ease of use. I think the closest you get is with the standalone headsets like the Quest 2. They're pretty much plug and play for everybody, I think. From what I've heard, I've never had one. But the Crystal was plug and play for me, absolutely. It hasn't been for everybody. The 8KX was a lot more work, really a lot more work. But the Crystal, I followed the directions, plugged it in, turned it on, and bam, it worked. I kind of fell off my chair. Because I love my Pimax headsets, but the 8KX, I really had to dig into learning about the headset and the settings and all that stuff to get it to work properly. For me, the 8KX is you plug it in and then you start tinkering. With the Crystal, now that the automatic IPD is working and eye tracking is working, you just basically, for most people, most of the time, plug it in and play. But there are exceptions to the rule. So I don't like to make a blanket statement like, well, it's good, it's a perfect headset. It isn't for everybody, because VR isn't one size fits all. And I don't know when it will be. Soon, I hope. But I will say the Crystal has been almost flawless for me. The only issue I had, as I've mentioned in other videos, was that my first version of the Crystal, which was a pre-production unit, would not do eye tracking. There was something wrong with the hardware or something. So they sent me a new one, and it works. I think since I updated the firmware, I may have to recalibrate the eye tracking. That might be part of the problem. But I basically wanted to try this Navion out and have a look at 72 hertz in the game. Oh, did it just lock up on me? Tell me you didn't just lock up, baby. Okay, let's try. Let's go to general options. Now let's go back. All I did was bring the map up. Ha! And she's locked up. There must be a... Oh, I bet I hit a pause key by mistake. Yep, that's what it is. I've got the pause key mapped, and being far from the sharpest tool in the shed, I forgot that I'd mapped it, you know what I mean? C'est la vie. Well, I think this looks like a pretty good place to land. So we'll just cruise around here, and we're in a little bit tight, but that'll be all right. Let's put the gear down. we'll make a kind of a button hook base here. Put some flaps out. I have to say that I think the really high ratings that people have given this Navion in Flight Sim are fair. I think it's really quite good. Okay. Well, not the best landing, but not the worst. Whoa! Don't bang the nose wheel around like that. That brake is a little bit. Look at that. Okay, now let the nose wheel down. Okay. Yeah, you want to keep that nose wheel up, but I think I kind of went too far with that. Anyway, first flight in the Navion, I didn't break it, so that's good. And I'm going to do some more on this one. It's not the fastest airplane in Flight Sim, but it's certainly one of the prettiest. I'm going to have to see if I can find the pilot operating handbook for it somewhere in the software, or I'm not sure where they file these things. I miss the days when all this stuff came with a book you could read. And I think I'm just going to park it right here. Let's turn the mixture off. And we'll turn the mags off. I guess I can do it this way. And we'll just park on the runway here because I'm important. Okay. No, it should let me out of here. Off. Everything's off. Where's the master switch? Turn the fuel pump off. That'll. Oh, that's the fuel pump on. Okay. Good. Well, I could sit here for an hour trying to figure all this stuff out, so let's just call it a day. I really like this little airplane. It's not that little an airplane, actually. It's a fairly substantial airplane. I think it's pretty cool. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll come back again to hear me ramble a little bit about airplanes and stuff and the Pimax Crystal. And everybody who dropped by is always welcome. Come back again sometime, won't you?